25,000 are here in Englishtown on a steamy hot summer day to watch the Summernationals, one of the feature events on the NHRA circuit, and a very important competition in that it marks the halfway point of the World Championship points chase. Today we'll be watching pro stocks, four-speed creations that can hit 180 miles an hour in just a quarter mile. The pro stocks are especially popular with the racing fans because they resemble so much the cars they may have driven to the racetrack. We'll also watch the super fast funny cars, rocket ships that can hit over 250 miles an hour in just a quarter mile. And all the top people are here, and so too is the specter of a flaming crash. The element of danger very much a part of this high-power competition. We begin our coverage of today's competition with second-round action in the funny cars. In the near lane in the white car is John Force. He's up against a record setter in Ken Venny.
Ken Venny hails from Wadsworth, Ohio. He does indeed hold the national record at a whopping 254 miles an hour. He's quite an innovator. He manufactures a lot of the racing parts that his fellow competitors utilize. He's up against John Force of Fullerton, California, who, despite not ever having won a big race, has managed to earn a living as a full-time professional in this drag racing sport.
John Force in the white car in the near lane as he inches toward the start line. The staging lights count down. The start's vital. Often the race is decided at the very moment of the green light. John Force is away first, and Ken Venny in the far lane, favored in this race, finds himself falling behind John Force. A winner and advancing to the semifinal round, John Force in a major upset.
Force was the better of the two drivers today. He reacts first to the Christmas tree starting system. Now, Force is losing traction just a little bit. You see the tires starting to smoke? He's really having to drive this race car. No easy piece of work for John Force. He won it on what they call a hole shot.
Above all speed, they called it an upset, and John Force is in the semifinal round. Now here is a legend in the drag race business, Don the Snake Prudhomme in his famed Challenger car, ready to roll in a second-round race.
Prudhomme is assured of a berth in the semifinals because there is no opponent in the far lane. This man, Raymond Beadle, the three-time world champion in his famed Blue Max, has had some problems back in the pit area, unable to make the call. It is a single run for Don Prudhomme.
To make it official, Don Prudhomme must travel the quarter-mile strip. He shuts the engine off halfway down, cruises in unopposed, and advances to the semifinal round of funny car. Englishtown, New Jersey, for the 1983 Summernationals. The low qualifier in funny car competition was this driver, Mark Oswald.
Oswald's nitro-burning supercharged engine rattles in front of him. The crew lowers down the plastic fiberglass body. Got to be kind of a claustrophobic feeling for Mark. He's 30 years old from Cincinnati, and the latest in a long list of talented drivers to wheel the machines owned by Louisiana coroner Paul Candide. Mark is up against a former Summer Nationals champion, Al Segrini from the Boston area. The beautiful green car will be in the near lane.
It's been a long time between victories here, though, for Al Segrini. He won the Summer Nationals funny car competition back in 1974. Mark Oswald, much talked about on the circuit, getting better all the time as they inch toward the staging lights. Awaiting that green light that sends these rocket ships on their way to speeds often over 250 miles an hour in a quarter mile.
We saw earlier how important the start can be, but here they appear to get off right together. Mark Oswald is pulling away from Al Segrini, simply has more muscle as Oswald goes into the semifinals. 5.92 seconds, 249 miles per hour.
A very impressive run for Mark Oswald as he advances to the semifinals of the Summer Nationals.
The next pair already fired and ready. This car driven by Kenny Bernstein. Bernstein, a two-time national event winner from Dallas, Texas, actually has a summer home out in Southern California. Bernstein's opponent here will be Rick Johnson of New York. The custom-bodied car that appears at Raceway Park a lot of warm Saturday night.
A major upset for Rick Johnson just to get to the second round because he beat one of the great names in funny car racing, Frank Hawley, in the opening round. A moment of truth. Drag racing. In that split second, the race can be won or lost as they inch forward, staging. Buster Couch, starter, left them away, and here they go with Bernstein in the far lane, taking an early lead, but coming up quickly is Rick Johnson, and Johnson is going to move ahead and oust Kenny Bernstein. Rick Johnson, an upset winner a second time. Next for Johnson in the semifinal round of funny car, Mark Oswald. Don Prudhomme will be matched against John Force. And, of course, Steve, the pro stocks feature remarkably close finishes, as illustrated by this race earlier in pro stock between Frank Iaconio in the yellow car in the near lane and Warren Johnson in the far lane. At the finish line, it's Iaconio by a coat of paint. The pro stocks. We'll be back to watch him race after this. This is Don Cricky back at the 1983 Summer Nationals in Englishtown, New Jersey. Pro stock competition continues. A big assignment now for young driver Don Kuntz, an auto dealer from Cayuga, Indiana, in the near lane. He'll go against the reigning world champion in pro stock competition, Lee Shepard, in the far lane.
Like the funny cars, the pro stocks do a tire heating burnout, but the car remains stationary as the rear tires spin. They have an electrical device called a line lock. They push a button, it locks up the front brakes to hold the car during the burnout procedure. Don Kuntz is still looking to win his first national event title, but consistency in the early rounds earned him the number 7 spot in the standings last year. Lee Shepard, the 2-time world champion, won the title last year by a wide margin.
Tough assignment now for Lee Shepard if he's to gain points here at the Summer Nationals. Racing in the far lane, Lee Shepard ready to go against Don Kuntz. Drag racing, a one-on-one sport, a winner and a loser in every race.
Lee Shepard was much the quicker of the two in qualifying. For Don Kuntz to get a victory here, he needs a lot of luck or a very good start off that line.
But the red light flashes at the start. Don Kuntz fouls, and Lee Shepard advances to the final round. Kuntz trying to get that perfect start you alluded to, Steve. Jump the start line.
He gambled on the lights and lost. A 788, 175-mile-an-hour winning run for Lee Shepard, and one of these two drivers will face Shepard in the final. In the near lane is Butch Leal. Leal from California driving an Ohio-based Pontiac Firebird. His opponent will be New Jersey's Frank Iaconio. He won this race 2 years ago and currently leads the world point standings over Lee Shepard.
And we recall, Steve, the incredibly close finish in a race between Iaconio and Warren Johnson earlier in this competition. They inch to the start line. There's the green light, and Iaconio gets a good jump. Butch Leal falling behind at the midway point, and Iaconio is going to race into the final round of pro stock competition.
Frank Iaconio wins it at 7.80 seconds, 177 miles an hour. And don't you know, these New Jersey fans will be riding with Frank when he races Lee Shepard for the championship to come.
Now we go to the semifinals of funny car competition. Don Prudhomme, a 4-time world champion, ready to go. All day long, we've seen the importance of the start in deciding these drag races. Earlier, Steve talked with Prudhomme about the importance of the green light in the getaway.
I've heard it said that if you see the green light, you're late.
You heard right. Yeah, that's exactly right. When they say, you're not supposed to leave till the green's on, but if you do see it, you're absolutely right. You're late. The car needs to be accelerating by the time you see amber, because by the time it turns green, you're in motion where you hit the lights at the exact right time.
And Don Prudhomme's opponent in the semifinal round, John Force, has demonstrated remarkable adeptness at timing perfect starts. That's how he advanced this far with great starts so far today.
Don Prudhomme taking a final chance to kind of whack that throttle, keep the tires hot and clean as he moves to the starting line. John Force in the far lane, Don Prudhomme in the near lane. Remember, Prudhomme has won this race the last 3 years. And neither driver seems very anxious to put on that top yellow light, the staging light. Occasionally, one driver will try to force the other to stage first. A little brain game possibly going on here. Force finally moves in and stages first. Prudhomme follows. They're ready.
The green light, and away they go. And again, John Force with an excellent start. Jumps to the lead. He's going to take Don Prudhomme in this semifinal race with ease. John Force continues his string of upsets at the 83 Summer Nationals with another upset victory over one of the greats, Don Prudhomme.
Now, Prudhomme has been having traction problems in that right-hand lane. He may have tried to leave it something less than full throttle.
Perfectly timed starts, the key to John Force's success today. There he is in the far lane in the white car, beating Don Prudhomme early. So John Force is in the finals of funny car competition, and one of these two cars will be his opponent. In the near lane is Rick Johnson, a surprise advancer to the semifinals. He's matched against Mark Oswald, one of the great drivers on the circuit.
The blue car in the far lane is Mark Oswald, the Candies and Hughes machine. Oswald looking to be in his 4th consecutive final if he can get by Rick Johnson. This is only the 2nd time in Johnson's career he's gone as far as the semifinals.
Now they inch toward the start line. The green light, and Mark Oswald off to a great start. He'll rocket into the finals. As on this run, Rick Johnson falls off.
Sounded like Rick had some driveline problems.
The race day over for Rick. Mark Oswald versus John Force in the finals. Lee Shepard, the defending world champion, positioned in the far lane of the white car. New Jersey's own Frank Iaconio in the yellow car in the near lane.
You just couldn't ask for a better pro stock final, Don. The number 1 and number 2 cars in the world. Lee Shepard needs a win here to overtake Frank Iaconio in this year's world point standing. Shepard in the far lane, Iaconio in the near lane.
The fraction of a second between the yellow light and the green light is the moment of truth in drag racing. Hitting the perfect start, the key, and there's a red light on the side of Lee Shepard. He is fouled at the outset. Frank Iaconio will be the victor in this 1983 Summer National Pro Stock competition.
Lee Shepard red lighted away a sure victory. He ran 7.78 seconds on a red light to Iaconio's slower 7.85. Both ran 177 miles an hour.
So we'll watch in replay as Lee Shepard hits the accelerator for blast-off. The red light comes on with the green. Lee Shepard across the start line early. And Frank Iaconio, a native New Jerseyan, takes a big victory. Frank Iaconio, a popular champion here in New Jersey, and now to be decided, the funny car final between Mark Oswald in the blue car in the near lane and John Force, who's run so well and upset Victor earlier in this day.
Mark Oswald in the near lane, Don, is no stranger to the winner's circle here at Raceway Park. He won here last year driving for the same team in another eliminator category. John Force has also been in the final round here about 4 years ago, but he was denied the championship.
When that nitromethane fuel is pumped through the carburation system and ignites, it creates a roar and a thrust of power that is awesome. This the finals of funny car competition. Mark Oswald, blue car near lane. John Force, white car far lane.
Can John Force pull up another one of those hole shots? He's been doing it all day long. Force is the last to stage. We're ready. John Force again off first.
But look at the power of the Oswald car as he rockets from behind. It's Mark Oswald, the victor in the funny car competition at the 1983 Summer Nationals.
Mark Oswald needed top speed of the event to drive by John Force over 251 miles an hour.
The perfectly timed starts of John Force in the white car have been the talk of the Summer Nationals. Here he executes another great start, but he doesn't have enough car to hold off Mark Oswald, who has enough straightaway to rip ahead and take the Summer National funny car competition. And with this victory, the 30-year-old Oswald moves into a virtual first-place tie with Frank Hawley in the overall world point standings in funny cars.
Mark Oswald already receiving congratulations as the Summer Nationals funny car champion. His second consecutive national event title in only his first year as a funny car driver. You'll remember he won here a year ago at the Summer Nationals in another category. No stranger to the winner's circle here is Mark Oswald. Mark going over to congratulate John Force on a beautiful final round. Very close racing. But for Force, his first national event still remains just slightly beyond his grasp. Congratulations from Sports World.
Thank you.
Was there ever any doubt down the racetrack?
Oh, I don't know. We shaking pretty hard, you know.
Did you see John?
No, not really. I just stuck with it, you know, did the best we could. And luckily we came.
Tremendous consistency for the Candies and Hughes car.
What did it run on that final?
592.
That's pretty good. I'm surprised. You know, the way the track is, I'm real happy to run that steady.
Mark Oswald and his crew hit the emotional high on the roller coaster of drag racing. The whole team ready to celebrate a great victory now. The countless man-hours that went into this victory as he's greeted by his crew, his wife Janie aboard that truck coming out to meet him. Mark Oswald, the 1983 Summer National Funny Car Champion. Now for Steve Evans, this is Don Crickey for NBC Sports World. Glad you could be with us at Englishtown, New Jersey.